Okay, hello everybody. Second try, and I think it's now working. So welcome to this verbal class. This is an advanced speaking class, and our topic today is stress. How do successful people beat stress? Or how do you beat stress successfully? Do you have any special tips that you can share with the other students? What do you find stressful in your life? I think this is quite a personal thing, but hopefully we can help each other with some useful information and tips, as well as practicing our English this morning. So if you've, or this evening, or this afternoon, or even the middle of the night for some of you, I know. So if you have booked a slot in this class, then do come along in now. Hopefully you can get in. And while I am waiting for everybody, I'm just going to share a couple of things that might help you out if you are new to verbling, or even if you're not new to verbling, but you kind of forgotten about these things. They could be useful. So I'm going to paste them into the chat box, a couple of helpful pages. Probably the most helpful of these two is the verbling teacher page, because this is where you should go if you want to find out more about any of the teachers. It has some very handy information there, including info on the teacher's schedule, which is classes and tutoring sessions, but also a little bit about who they are. You can watch some excerpts from their classes. There are several different videos on there. You can watch their welcome video. You can find out, you know, where they've been teaching, for how long, what their specialities are, etc. So it's a great place to go if you haven't gone before. Even if you have, maybe there's something new that you've missed. Or maybe you want to find out more about somebody who you've been attending the classes of. That's up to you. So check that one out. The second one is the Facebook page. This is my Verbling Teacher Facebook page, but you can visit any of those Facebook pages of the teachers. I'm pasting that one in there too. If you're a Facebook person, this might be helpful for you. So, as I mentioned at the beginning of the session, this is a speaking class of advanced level, and our topic today is stress. So, we're going to say hello, and hopefully, I'm hoping that Ksenia can hear me. Hi, Ksenia.
Yes, hello.
Yeah?
Hello.
There seem to be some issues this morning. I was struggling to start the class, and I can see that maybe the students aren't finding it too difficult to... did you have any problems when you came into the class?
Yes. It's
So
very slow to loading. Yes.
All right, well, me and you will have to persevere and hope that the others can get here. I see Natalia's come and gone, so maybe she's having issues too. We will just wait and hang out, haha, and just see if the others can turn up. So in the meantime, tell me about stress, Ksenia. What do you find like stressful things in your life in general?
For me, it's all kind of problems.
So just general problems, like things that you're not prepared for, or?
Every problem, small problems, big problems. It's there are very big problem. It's a very big problem for me, and very big stress for me. I don't want some obstacles on my way, and it's very stressful.
What do you think, if you have to think about problems, I think, you know, definitely is a good one, because I think we probably all find these stressful. Are there particular types of problems that you find worse than others? Does it seem to depend on anything in particular, or is it just generally something that disrupts your plan?
I don't know, the most maybe something about my I don't know, life way, maybe about my appearance, something like that, something about me.
All right, something directly related to you. Okay.
Yes.
Personal problems, let's put that. I'm just going to make a little list so that we can refer to these as we go through the class. But thank you, Ksenia, for sharing, and it's lovely to see you.
Thank you.
All right, it looks as if people are able to come in slowly now. So I'm going to say hi to Natalia. We've got two of you this morning, Natalia.
Hello, nice to meet you again.
Nice to see you too. Me and Ksenia were just talking about stress. So one of the things I find stressful is when my verbaling classes don't work technically. But what do you find stressful, Natalia? Is there anything that you find particularly stressful in your life?
So I think that when I have too much responsibility that I cannot bear, but I have to, so that makes me feel stressful. So, for example, if I'm responsible for some project, but I feel that I'm not so good at it, or when I'm responsible for other people, I mean, again, so working in a team, for instance.
Yeah, for sure. So is this related to your work mainly?
Yes.
All right, so definitely one of your work stresses would be too much responsibility bearing down on your shoulders.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for that. So we've got a couple of things now in the chat box. Welcome, Natalia. Great to see you.
Thank you.
Andre, how are you? I haven't seen you for a while.
Hi, Amy. I'm good, and how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Is everything going well? How's your English studying going?
I haven't been on Verbeling maybe for 2 months, I guess, and I think that I forgot how to speak English.
I'm sure that's not true, Angie.
Yeah, I'm trying to return back
Brilliant.
to the studying.
And what was the reason for your absence? Did you have a lot of work on, or any big things happen to you?
Yes, it was. I had a lot of work, and I was, quite lazy, and when after work I don't want to study anything. So
yeah, fair enough. I don't think that would be classed as lazy, Andre. Just that, sometimes life gets a little bit overwhelming and you're too tired to think about anything extra.
Yeah.
All right, so our topic today is stress. Can you tell us what would be one of the most stressful things that you experience in your life? Just in general, what do you find stressful?
Maybe a lot of work. And for me, it could be some social situations, like when there are so many people and you have to do something among them. So, for example, public speaking or something.
Okay, definitely. So public speaking or those type of social events where you're the focus of attention and there's a lot of people watching you.
Yeah. But for me, it could be just to meet new people, because I don't know, I'm kind of person that have stress while meeting new people. I don't know why.
Stressed.
I'm trying to. Yeah, I'm get stressed while meeting new people. Yeah.
All right. So definitely that's something that affects. I think it's quite a personal thing, that one, that some people find it more difficult than others, maybe, to meet new people. And maybe the public speaking one is probably a bit more universal, although if this is part of, your job or whatever, maybe you get used to it. I don't know whether you ever, if anyone's sort of does performances of any kind, I think maybe, from what I've heard, you don't really ever get rid of that stress, but maybe you just get used to it. I'm not sure about that. Maybe you guys could comment. But thank you, Andre. It's lovely to see you, and welcome.
Thank you. Good to see you too.
Who else do we have here? Carmen, hello.
Hello, Amy.
How are you? It's been such a long time since I've seen you.
Yes, I think it's the same thing as Andre having me here for about 2 months. So, but I'm back again, and I hope it's going to be for good anyway.
Great, that's wonderful news. And how is everything? Are you coping with the heat wave?
Which way? Oh, the heat wave here.
Is it still hot?
Yes, it's very hot. This summer is going to be. I can't really believe it, because we usually have very hot summers, but this summer is being especially hot. I don't know why, But anyway, this afternoon we had a big storm. We had a little bit of rain, so I hope it gets a little bit cooler now.
Yes, you've got some rain relief.
That's it. Absolutely.
Well, that's great news. I'm glad to hear it. I've had a few of my Spanish students sitting in their tutoring sessions with their fans and sweat dripping down their faces.
Yes.
I'm very sorry for them.
Absolutely, it's true. It's true.
All right, so Carmen, what do you find really stressful?
What I find stressful? I don't have any particular thing that makes me stressful. I'd say the daily chores. I mean, as I go on my daily routine, I might find something that I can cope with that makes me a little bit of stress. That's it. Not especially anything special, but it's just the daily chores that I go through every day.
All right, so are you talking about things like, housework or, paying bills, that kind of thing?
Everything. I mean, for instance, if I'm in a hurry and I have to cook dinner because we are late for something, that makes me very stressful.
Yeah.
If I have to go somewhere and my car doesn't work, it wouldn't start. That would make me stressful. So it's not that or even at work. I mean, it's like the daily chores that I do every day. The daily chores.
Okay. Yeah. Brilliant.
It's every situation I can cope with, that I can handle it.
Okay, so beyond your coping ability equals stress.
That's it.
Okay, it's actually really interesting talking to you because so far we have all mentioned completely different things, which is quite interesting. You would think that, stressful events are stressful events, but when it comes down to it, perhaps the things that are stressful in our daily lives, avoiding those massive, obvious life events like death or divorce or moving or those big things, we seem to be quite different so far. So it's lovely to see you, Carmen. Welcome.
Thank you.
Who else do we have? Simone, hello.
Hello, Amy. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. And I don't know if we've met before or not, Simone.
Yes, we have. I'm
Brilliant.
Simone from Brazil.
Okay, I remember
I've got no
Simone
picture
from...
today.
Yeah, that's why. Sometimes no picture equals new student. That's what I've learned.
Then.
Why haven't you got a picture? Did you just you didn't want to update it or something?
I don't know. It's a new profile. I wasn't on Verbling, and I decided to come back. And I have no pictures yet, but I'm going to put it.
All right. It seems like this is the returning students' day for Verbling. Or maybe the returning students' week. It's lovely to see you back, Simone. How's everything been going in your life? Have you been busy at work?
Yes, as usual.
Mm-hmm. And now that it's summer. Well, winter for you, right? Is it winter for you?
No, it's always summer.
It's always summer in Brazil. That just sounds so great. All right, so it's lovely to talk to you again. Tell us about stress. What do you personally find stressful?
A lot of things, but if you ask me, I would say negative people who are always complaining about everything. As my sister is like, when I see her approaching, I am stressed because I know she's going to complain about everything around, and really I can't cope with it because she's really, if she doesn't know anything to complain about, she will create something.
I think I can definitely agree that is a very stressful thing. If you have somebody who's in your family particularly who's like this, like your sister, it can be really stressful because you can't really avoid that all the time, right? There are some times you have to face it.
Because I live with her, so it's impossible to avoid her. But this really makes me stressed, and I go to work very stressed and, in a bad mood because of her. So That's not good.
All right.
But I try to be happy anyway.
Well, that's really good, Simone. Even in the face of that, you try to be happy. Well done. Very admirable.
Thank you.
Okay, and who else do we have here? We have Julian. How are you?
Hi Amy, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How's everything?
Sorry?
How is everything? Are you doing okay?
Yeah, it's very great. Sorry, I am late, but it's all is good.
Wonderful. All right, so I think you know what my question is going to be.
Yeah, okay. Stressing. When yes, stressful. The people that don't have initiative to do something, to do things in life. They maybe always stay waiting for the other people tell what must or what could be done by them. It's very stressing for me. Yeah. They
Okay,
don't have,
very interesting one. Yeah.
and because with these people in some cases in general cases are a problem to do something, find problems and a lot of initiative.
Okay, really interesting choice, Julian. Actually, now that you mention this, I think you're right. I think depending on your perspective or your position, maybe is a better word. Are you talking about work, or are you talking about your family, or who are you talking about?
Maybe into the family it's more easy handle these cases
Easier.
because these cases because it's your family, it's your blood. But it's more stressing or stressful with people are not in the work, people that work with you. It's very stressing because you in some cases you have to do additional work or have to do additional tasks because them don't decide or don't make the work that they have to do.
Don't do the work they have to do. Yeah, I agree. So it means more work for you because they lack initiative.
Yes.
Okay. And if this happens in your family, you say it's maybe easier to deal with because they're your family, so you can just
Yes,
tell them.
is you have a feelings, you understand, your mother, your sister, or other member of your family, you say, okay, it's my family. We can talk with him, or maybe I don't put attention to that, and no, don't worry, don't
Okay.
worry for
Yeah,
me.
for
But
sure.
but for other people, it's not so easy. It's more
True.
harder.
All right. Thank you, Julian. Lovely to have you. Welcome.
Okay,
So
thank
we've
you.
got like a little list now. I hope you guys can all see the chat box because we're going to be referring to these points a little bit more today. We do have an article which is entitled How Successful People Beat Stress. It's actually a little bit ambiguous in the way that it's talking about successful people, but we'll have a look at it in a moment. What I would just like to do now is just to think for about 2 minutes on the things that you, or the strategies you employ, or maybe the attitude that you take up just in regard to stress. How do you deal with it usually? What's your default stress mode? Like, do you shout and release your stress by kind of getting all angry, or do you shut down? And do you go for a walk and listen to your iPod, or when that's not possible, what do you do? So what's your default dealing with stress strategy? So who would like to go first?
I can.
Thanks, Ksenia.
If I have some stressful situation at my work, usually I complain about it to my husband. So I share all my problems and thoughts to him, and it's very useful for me because Maybe he can advise me something very useful, or just say don't pay attention on it, it's nothing, and I stay calm.
Brilliant. Okay, so don't pay attention to it. Good one, really good one. I think that probably a lot of us have this as a default. Do you think this is a female way of dealing with stress, to share it? Or does this work for boys as well? Do any boys want to comment on that? Andre, Julian? What do you guys do to deal with your stress?
No, for me, I don't share my stress problems. It's easier for me to cope with stress by myself, and I try to use the strategies like breathing and breathe out, like relax. And the second one, for example, if you have a stressful situation and most of the time it is related with a fear we have, and if you how do you say if you look your fear into the eyes or something,
what is your fear in the eye? Yep.
In the eye, yeah. Stress is go away something was in some moment, when you do it, you kind of fear is go away, and stress, you have a little less stress than you had before.
Okay, so I love that one. Look it in the eye, or maybe face it directly. Just face it head on and deal with it, and then it disappears. Thank you, Andre. How about you, Julian? What were you going to say?
I can ask you, in this case, I can say face on the fear.
Face the fear directly. Yep.
Face on.
Yeah, you can say face on. That means like this.
Yes.
Right in front of it. Yeah.
Okay. And now for me, when I have stress, I like to go out and make some exercise, some workout.
Yep.
And this is my activity, but really, I say to people what is the problem, what is the cause of the stress. Okay, the cause of the stress.
Yep.
Because that is a relaxing. When you say other people, you makes that the stress go down.
Okay. All right. So that's a really good one, and I think it's almost like a physical way to release stress. So it's getting out of your system. I agree. That works for me as well. Totally, Julian.
Works a lot.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay, so who else would like to make a comment? How do you deal with stress?
Okay, so I just try to be more philosophical, so some kind of explain to myself that I can't be responsible for everything, that I cannot control everything, I can't control all the situations, and everyone has a right to make a mistake or something of this kind. Sometimes it helps. And and I also have some more practical strategies. So, for example, walking, not doing exercises, but walking, for instance, or just even so trying to relax in the evening, even by means of shower, for example, or just having herbal tea, for instance, so such things. And certainly there are bad ways. So overeating, for instance, just eating too much chocolate, for instance. Yeah.
Definitely. That's very true, actually, Natalia. So sometimes you can do something to relieve your stress, which may cause you other problems, like weight gain.
Yes.
But I must say that having a cup of tea is definitely one of my default strategies. But then again, I am from England, so who knows? All right, Simone, what do you do? Are you still there?
So yes, I am. So first of all, when it comes to complaining people, I don't say anything back. So I pretend that I'm not caring because if I complain, if I say something back, it's going to be worse for me. And also, every day I like to do something, at least one thing that I like very much. Could be watch a movie, could be visit a friend, or walking, or when I'm really stressed, I go shopping.
Shopping! Oh, what a great
Yes.
one, Simone. Thank you for mentioning that. All right.
That's the best option ever.
Retail therapy.
Yes.
Brilliant. All right. Thank you. And Carmen, tell us what you do.
What I do? Well, I try to take a very long and deep breath, and I said to myself, just try to handle it the best way you can. That's it.
Yeah.
Because nothing I can do to avoid it. So just try to handle it with care and be joyful about it because nothing can be worse than that. So that's it.
Absolutely. You know, sometimes when something goes completely wrong, at the time it's really stressful, and afterwards it's often something that you can laugh about. You know, it's a great
That's it.
story that you can tell your friends. Sometimes I manage to do this and other times I don't. But it is worth remembering that at some point you will be laughing at this awful thing that's happening to you. So if you can remember that during the actual activity, it does make it easier to cope with.
Yeah, I hope it does.
Yeah, sure. All right, so what we're going to do is have a look at this article, which is called How Successful People Stress. And we're just going to, it's a it's a reasonable length article. So I'm sharing the link with you. What we're going to do is read the intro together. Then we're going to split off into our little solo group by ourselves and check out one of the paragraphs. We're going to read that paragraph through, and then we're going to present our summary of it to the class so that we can figure out what this article is about by the end. So take a look at that guy who looks suitably stressed, staring at a very complicated-looking spreadsheet or something. And we're going to read from the beginning. So would anyone like to read?
Yes.
Thank you, Julian.
Yes, I can. Okay.
So from there are.
Yeah,
Can you see that one?
there are two kinds of people in this world. Those who believe they can make things happen and those who believe things happen to them. The first group are convinced that the outcome of their lives and careers is more or less in their own hands, and they wouldn't have it any other way. The second group take more of the Forrest Gump approach. They sit around and wait for the bus to take them somewhere. University of Florida psychologist Tim Judge and his colleagues have shown overwhelmingly that people who feel that they control the events in their life more than the events control them, and are confident in their abilities, end up doing very or nearly every important measure of work performance. In Judge studies, these individuals, we'll call them the empowered, we found to do the following: sell more than the other employees do, give better customer service, adjust better to new assessment, take home an average of 50 to 150% more in annual income.
Thank you, Julian.
Okay.
Lovely reading. This one is assignment.
Assignment.
Yeah, so it's a silent G, which is a bit off-putting, I know. But well done. Okay, thanks for reading that for us. Does anyone have any questions about the vocabulary? No? All right, so I think if I'm just going to ask Carmen, could you quickly summarize that for us? What did we learn in that introduction?
That's the kind of people who deal with stress things in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
One is that the thing. There are two groups, and first group think that they have the power to do whatever they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And the second group takes they just it's like they are a little bit patient, and they just stand still and wait for something to happen to them. I don't know.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Then it just gives a little bit of an example of some of the things that, you know, the empowered group achieve or are different in some way. Thank you, Carmen. Okay, I'm just going to say hi to Anna, who's just joined us. Hello.
Hello, Amy. Nice to see you again.
Welcome, Anna. We've only just started reading this article, and I'm going to split you off now and give you a section each. And what I would like you to do is to just make sure you can load this up. So I've given you the link. You'll need to open it in another window. So I want you to just read or skim through your particular section, and then in order of the sections, we're going to present them to the class and give a little summary, a bit like what Carmen has just done. And then we're going to discuss it at the end. So I'm going to start with Simone. Simone, if you could please take in good times and bad, which is this one here. Got that?
Okay.
Brilliant, thank you. Then I'm going to ask Natalia to take Here's How It Works, which includes this graph here and goes all the way down to here, Natalia, okay?
Okay, all right.
Thank you. Ksenia, I'm going to ask you to do Here's How You Do It, which is this one.
Okay.
Brilliant. Julian, you get step 1, expect and prepare for change.
Okay.
Carmen, step 2, focus on your freedoms, not your limitations.
Okay, then.
Andre, you've got step 3, rewrite your script.
Okay.
Anna, you've got step 4, spot and stop negative self-talk. Okay, brilliant. So I'm going to give you about 5 minutes just to read that through and to come up with a little summary. And if you'd like to, you can also mention something about your opinion about it. Do you agree with this? Does it make sense to you? Do you have any experience of this in your life? So you'll have about 3 or 4 minutes to give your little summary and make some comments about it. So off you go, and I'll bring you back. Yep, questions?
Could you give a link to the Google chat, because I think I have problems with the web chat.
Sure. Link
Yeah,
is there. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Cool. All right. I'll see you guys in 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, 1 more minute, guys. Okay, so let's get started with our little presentation. Simone, if you could explain to us, please, what your paragraph is in good times and bad. You've got 3 minutes to do it. Are you there, Simone? Yep, brilliant.
Yes, but my internet's terrible, sorry. Oh, okay.
No problem.
So it talks about good and bad times. The problem is some people are very happy with the good times. Everyone is happy, of course, but they don't know how to face the bad times. But for these kinds of people, empowered people, they believe they have control of their lives in their hands, so they face the problems in a different way. So the bad times are not that bad for them because they can make the efforts double, and they can have a different outcome because they have control about their lives. You know.
Brilliant, beautiful summary. Thank you, Simone. Do you think if you had to put yourself in one of those 2 groups, where would you put yourself?
In this one,
Which one? The
I
good,
would put myself
the empowered, or the non-empowered?
the empowered. That's the way I try to do things. I am like a glass half full type of girl.
Yes, great. You're a glass half full. Why do you think that you've adopted this? Is this just your natural personality, or have you tried to learn how to be like this?
I think I've learned how to be like this with my dad because he was like that. He never complained when facing difficulty because he showed me there is a way out in each situation. You just have to focus and work hard, and you can find a solution.
Brilliant. Wow, thank you, Simone. What a brilliant start. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so let's go to Natalia. You've got quite a long one, Natalia. Can you tell us what this section was about?
Yeah, so actually it tells us how these people who can control the situation can also solve the problem of stress. So the author of the article insists that actually the feeling of anxiety or the feeling of stress isn't that bad because the optimal level of anxiety or stress is just necessary for performance. But the point is that you shouldn't be stressed too much. You should be able to control the situation. You should be able to control your feelings. Otherwise, the situation gets worse and worse because the more uncontrolled emotions you have, the quicker these emotions are amplified. So it's I can say that probably it's some kind of a rolling snowball. So if you cannot stop, if you cannot control, it gets worse and worse and worse.
All right, thank you, Natalia. Oh, also a very good summary because that was quite a tricky paragraph. Do you think that this like what it said in this paragraph matches your experience of your own life?
Yes, I suppose, yes, that if you cannot just stop and say that, okay, well, you shouldn't panic anymore, so then it means that you make more and more mistakes, and then the result, you just don't know at all what to do. And I mean that, yeah, so there could be such situations which are described in the article, that so there could be tears and even worse situations like depression and so on.
All right, so yeah, you've got to try to not get into that situation in the first place, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, thank you, wonderful. So let's go down now to here's how you do it, and this is Ksenia.
Okay. If you want to be a successful person, you should keep your anxiety in check. And if you don't do it, you never know you're a powerful and good person in future. So you can follow the 5 steps, I think, to become such person, but you should understand that your future is not clear, but you should to be good prepared to them.
You should be well prepared. You should be well prepared.
You should be well prepared to it.
Prepare for something. Yeah. Okay, great.
Prepare it for.
Yeah, thank you. And what do you think about what it said in that paragraph, Ksenia? Is it a bit simplistic, or do you think that it's true?
I think yes, it's normal, true, and I think everyone knows it.
All right, everyone knows it. But what about implementing it? Is it as easy as following the 5 steps? Obviously, we're about to find out what those are.
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Yes. Do you think we're about to read the 5 steps to follow? But just in your own personal opinion, do you think that this is something that everyone is able to achieve, or do you think it's a lot harder than it sounds?
No, I think it's easy to write an article, but it's very difficult to follow in life.
I must admit, yes, that does spring to my mind as well. All right, thank you, Ksenia. So let's have a look at the steps now and decide what we think about these. So first of all, we've got step 1, which is Julian's about to tell us.
In this part, they say that the article says that the people, the empowered people, in his life had experienced situations or bad situations about his works, but because they can control everything in her life. But the difference between the empowered people on the other, or the successful people, is the conception about the change, the conception about the experience, because the empowered people have the ability to change to other situation very fast and be be adaptable, or be adaptable in this situation very faster and more easier than other people. And the other part is this is possible for other people. The difference that you must be to get this ability is start to think in the future in different possible futures that can happen to you. And how could you respond in these situations? And
Brilliant. Mm-hmm.
and with this exercise, you start to change or to change your mind, to change your perception about the change, about the troubles, um, and you can get in control when you have this situation in your life.
All right, Julian, brilliant explanation, because that was actually quite a full step with lots of different parts to it, and you've explained them all really well, so thank you. Brilliant.
Okay.
Let's carry on. Carmen, step 2.
Okay, well, what it basically what it says is that it's like we've been brought up, we've been as we've grown up, we have always heard this thing that life isn't fair. It's like we can't do anything to stop bad things to happen, and it's like when you're going through a sticky patch. I mean, you have a very difficult situation. It's like oh, it doesn't really matter what you do because you cannot control it. I mean, something negative is going to happen to you, and no matter what you do, you cannot control it. So it says what it says here is true that we cannot control the negative things that are going to happen to us, but we can choose how to respond to it. I mean, we can choose how to deal with it, and it proposes us to write down a list, trying to give some solutions to things that may happen or may not, but try to see in a positive way, meaning that it's true that we cannot control things and negative things that are going to happen to us, but we can choose how to deal with it.
Brilliant. All right. I think that's really true, but also easier said than done. Do you think you're good at doing this, Carmen?
I don't. It's like I don't write down everything that could happen to me. What I do is try to work out what is happening right now. I mean, if I get a problem, if I go through a sticky patch, sometimes I take a very long, deep breath and I deal with it. That's the best way I can do it.
Yeah, for sure. So you definitely do focus on your reaction, it sounds like, because you pause, take a breath, and then you decide what you're going to do. You don't just sort of charge head first, maybe.
Yeah, but what I mean is true that you've been hearing that all your life. I mean, life isn't fair. I mean, it's like you have to put up with it because no matter what you do, you cannot control it. And it's true, you cannot control it, but you can choose how to react to it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, thank you, Carmen. Just to mention, some of you, I've written a couple of points or corrections or something in the chat box, so keep your eye on that. Thank you, Carmen. Andre, step 3.
Yeah, the step 3 is a tricky one because it mentions the script. It's way how we usually deal with the stressful situation, how we behave, what we do, and what we believe. And this step mentioned that we need to change it, rewrite it. So we need to recall the tough situation or stressful situation that we already experienced, and then mention how we dealt with it, what we did, and how we acted, and then have a new plan. What is the better way to deal with that situation? Then we have to remember it, and next time when we have a stressful situation or hard situation, we need to be more conscious and act as in a new script. You have to act like in a new way, in a new script. So you can compare the past way, how you did it, and how you do it in a present way.
All right, yeah, a tricky concept to get across. What's what's your opinion about that, Andrew? Would you think that's a helpful thing to do or not really?
I don't know. I haven't tried that. Maybe it's a good way, but most of the time we have unconsciously. I think these scripts are in our unconscious mind, and we not every time we conscious about our behavior. So I don't know.
Very good point. Yeah, so it's actually would be maybe a tricky task to try and figure out what your script is. Just a word about pronunciation. Beautiful explanation. It's dealt rather than dealt. Okay, dealt.
Dealt. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Brilliant. Okay, Anna, step 4.
Okay, teacher. One way to manage stress and anxiety is stop negative self-talks, because it's not just mindless chatter. It has a way of creating its own reality, you know.
Yeah.
For instance, if you tell yourself that you cannot do something, then it can make that come true. And if you tell yourself, oh, people think badly about me, and you tend to behave in a way, you know, as if it was a reality, and sometimes it is not. You are just making a mountain out of a molehill because something happened, and so on. And in fact, people who think negatively tend to be less outgoing and have weaker social networks than positive thinkers. And sometimes you believe, yeah, oh my gosh, those people don't like me, you know. And then every single thing that happens to you, you believe in it. You wonder, you wonder, I was right, you know. And most of the time, your statements are not true at all. And we should avoid using words such as never, worst, ever, because those words are very strong. And one way to decide whether if it is true or not is to bring those things to a friend that you trust, and see if your friend would agree or no with you, and then the truth will come out.
Yes.
And a way to escape of this cycle of negativity and anxiety is to move forward and have positive thoughts.
Okay, thank you. Very well explained. I'm very impressed with all of those summaries. Well done, because this was not an easy thing to summarize with quite in-depth points. I'm just going to have a really quick look at step number 5, which is very short, and it says count your blessings. This is like a lovely idiom in English, which is one of my favorites, because it just basically reminds you to think about what is good. If you're having a bad time, there's always about a million things that I can think of that I am actually grateful for if I stop and do that, and it always cheers me up and makes me feel less stressed. So I personally think that's a wonderful technique. Thanks, guys. Great class. I actually really enjoyed listening to, firstly, what made you stressed, and secondly, your ideas about how to deal with stress. Hopefully, some of those points from the article were helpful or made you think a little bit as well. I'm going to let you go now, so I hope you enjoy your next class, if you're going to one. If not, enjoy your sleep or your morning coffee or whatever it might be, and I hope to see you all again soon.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you so much for the class, Amy.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
For the class, a very good class.
information there, including info on the teacher's schedule, which is classes and tutoring sessions, but also a little bit about who they are. You can watch some excerpts from their classes. There are several different videos on there. You can watch their welcome video. You can find out, you know, where they've been teaching, for how long, what their specialities are, etc. So it's a great place to go if you haven't gone before. Even if you have, maybe there's something new that you've missed, or maybe you want to find out more about somebody who you've been attending the classes of. That's up to you. So check that one out. The second one is the Facebook page. This is my Verbaling Teacher Facebook page, but you can visit any of those Facebook pages of the teachers. I'm pasting that one in there too. If you're a Facebook person, this might be helpful for you. So, as I mentioned at the beginning of the session, this is a speaking class of advanced level, and our topic today is stress. So, we're going to say hello, and hopefully, I'm hoping that Ksenia can hear me. Hi, Ksenia.
Yes, hello.
Yeah?
Hello.
There seemed to be some issues this morning. I was struggling to start the class. Okay, hello everybody, second try, and I think it's now working. So welcome to this Verbaling class. This is an advanced speaking class, and our topic today is stress. How do successful people beat stress? Or how do you beat stress successfully? Do you have any special tips that you can share with the other students? What do you find stressful in your life? I think this is quite a personal thing, but hopefully we can help each other with some useful information and tips, as well as practicing our English this morning. So if you've, or this evening, or this afternoon, or even the middle of the night for some of you, I know. So if you have booked a slot in this class, then do come along in now. Hopefully you can get in. And while I am waiting for everybody, I'm just going to share a couple of things that might help you out if you are new to Verbaling, or even if you're not new to Verbaling, but you've kind of forgotten about these things. They could be useful. So I'm going to paste them into the chat box, a couple of helpful pages. Probably the most helpful of these two is the Verbaling teacher page, because this is where you should go if you want to find out more about any of the teachers. It has some very handy information. But what do you find stressful, Natalia? Is there anything that you find particularly stressful in your life?
So I think that when I have too much responsibility that I cannot bear, but I have to, so that makes me feel stressful. So, for example, if I'm responsible for some project, but I feel that I'm not so good at it, or when I'm responsible for other people, I mean, again, so working in a team, for instance.
Yeah, for sure. So is this related to your work mainly?
Yes.
All right, so definitely one of your work stresses would be too much responsibility bearing down on your shoulders.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for that. So we've got a couple of things now in the chat box. Welcome, Natalia, great to see you.
Thank you.
Andre, how are you? I haven't seen you for a while.
Hi, Amy. I'm good, and how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Is everything going well? How's your English studying going? Are there particular types of problems that you find worse than others? Does it seem to depend on anything in particular, or is it just generally something that disrupts your plan?
I don't know, the most. Maybe something about my, I don't know, life way, maybe about my appearance, something like that. Something about me.
All right, something directly related to you. Okay.
Yes.
Personal problems. Let's put that. I'm just going to make a little list so that we can refer to these as we go through the class. But thank you, Ksenia, for sharing, and it's lovely to see you.
Thank you.
All right, it looks as if people are able to come in slowly now. So I'm going to say hi to Natalia. We've got two of you this morning, Natalia.
Hello, nice
Hi.
to meet you again.
Nice to see you too. Me and Ksenia were just talking about stress. So one of the things I find stressful is when my Verbaling classes don't work technically. And I can see that maybe the students aren't finding it too difficult to. Did you have any problems when you came into the class?
Yes. It's
So what
very
happened?
slow to loading. Yes.
All right, well, me and you will have to persevere and hope that the others can get here. I see Natalia's come and gone, so maybe she's having issues too. We will just wait and hang out, haha, and just see if the others can turn up. So in the meantime, tell me about stress, Ksenia. What do you find like stressful things in your life in general?
For me, it's all kind of problems.
So just general problems, like things that you're not prepared for, or
every problem, small problems, big problems. There are very big problem. It's a very big problem for me, and very big stress for me. I don't want some obstacles on my way, and it's very stressful.
What do you think, if you have to think about problems, I think, definitely it's a good one, because I think we probably all find these stressful.